Alright everybody, here we go. So the reason why I did this tutorial is because I know it's really basic, like why would you want to make the default cube when every time you start Blender it's right there. And that's a valid point. I think one of the reasons is because just learning how to do it teaches you some basic skills about Blender and about being able to create an object, understand what goes into the object. And there's a couple of really basic and fundamental commands that you'll learn in this tutorial and in doing this. So I thought it would be valuable, and it's just something that I wanted to do. I thought it would be cool and funny at worst, right? So anyways, here we go. Let's start a new scene file, whenever you open up Blender, I'll just go to the general, and here we have a basic scene. Let's delete everything, just using box select, highlighting everything and hitting delete. And the method that I'm going to be using is using a single vertex to create our cube. So we could do this a couple of ways. I'm going to introduce also a really cool add-on, which will allow us to add a single vertex. So let's go to Edit, Preferences. In add-ons, let's make sure that mesh extra objects is installed. Add mesh extra objects. Just click on this, and when the tick icon is active, it means it's installed. So it's installed now, for me at least. So here we are in object mode. Our cursor is positioned in the center of the screen. With that, let's get started. Shift A to add, go to mesh and go to single vert and add single vert. And there's our single vert right there. Now let's go into, oh yeah, it already put us into edit mode. Okay, good. So now what we need to do is recreate this default cube, which is 2 by 2 by 2 along the X, Y, and Z respectively in meters. So, we can stay in this view, or we can go into top view if you want. Doesn't really matter. So what we do is first let's extrude along the x-axis. So in edit mode with our vertex selected, extrude E, X, and then 2. So I pressed E, X, and 2, but for some reason my screencast keys didn't capture those, but that's what I hit. Let me do that again. E, X, and 2. As you can see, there's 2 vertices now, and we have an edge, which is 2 meters wide. So we're 1/3 of the way there, or less than that. Let's do the same thing along the y-axis now. So with both vertices selected, you can do a box select, and then extruding along the y-axis. So E to extrude, Y to extrude along the y-axis, and 2 to specify the length. Enter. So there you go. Now we have we almost have what would be considered a default plane, which is great because it shows us some of the primitives that go into or can go into a cube. So from here we've got a 2 by 2 plane, and now we need to have this cube have some height. So we can do this a couple of ways, but basically we're extruding upwards. So we can highlight all of our vertices and then hit E and then 2. And there you go. If we go to side view, which is 1 on the numpad, you can see it's exactly 1. Go to exactly 2, and go to side view, which is our right view, which is number 3, and that's also 2 meters. And if we go to perspective mode, we can see it's a cube. But just to make sure, let's go to object mode. Shortcut key is tab, object mode, and hit N to pull up the side menu, or just click this. And you can see the dimensions of our cube is 2 by 2 by 2. So there you go. It has the dimensions of our default cube, but it is not aligned properly. And 2 things are missing. for us to get this to the state of being a default cube. One is the origin of the object needs to be in the center of the cube, not here on the edge. So to do that, we'll do this in 2 steps. One, click on the object and right click, set origin to geometry. So that's going to put our origin right in the middle of the cube. So I believe at like 1, 1, 1. If you go to side view, front view, if you go to side view, if you go to top view, you can see it's perfectly centered. So the shortcuts for those are 1 for front view, 3, numpad 3, numpad 1, numpad 3 for side view, and numpad 7 for top view. But as you can see, as you may realize, it's not exactly the default cube, because the default cube always is centered in the world origin, not on a corner. So let's do that. So first let's make sure that our cursor is at the world origin. Right now my cursor is at the world origin, but let's make sure. So Shift S to pull up the snap menu, and cursor to world origin. So say for example if my cursor was here on the cube somewhere, Shift S, cursor to world origin. Boom. That's really important for placing objects, because it tells Blender where to place a new object. So yeah, now we know how to do that, and now let's move the cube to there. So again, with the object selected, hit Shift S to go into snap menu again, and then selection to cursor. Selection is what we have selected, which is the cube, and then that centers the cube on the world origin, and there we have a perfect scale 1, 1, 1, location 0, 0, 0, rotation 0, 0, 0, dimensions 2, 2, 2. Wow, we have a default cube from scratch, from a single vertex, from nothing. If you're a beginner and you got this far, then well done. You learned a couple of really essential skills that'll help you moving forward.